community of cattle call for support in marketing their produce. In sports, with less than a week to the Africa Cup of Nations qualifier between the Scorpions of the Gambia and Desert Foxes of Algeria, we examine public opinion on the national squad selection. In internationals, Chinese President Xi Jinping holds bilateral talks with leaders from across Africa ahead of the FOCAC summit, which begins Monday in Beijing. These plus many more stories coming ahead with me, Fatima Tassisai. Do stay tuned. Welcome to the news, and we begin this bulletin with the national news because the President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, accompanied by a high-powered delegation including the First Lady Fatoumata Barrow, Sunday afternoon arrived in the Chinese capital Beijing shortly after 2 p.m. local time. The Gambian leader was received by Chinese Foreign Ministry officials and the Gambia's ambassador to the People's Republic of China, His Excellency Fai Sise. President Barrow is in Beijing to attend the Forum for China-Africa Summit, which brings together African leaders and their Chinese counterpart for discussions on strengthening China-Africa partnership. The summit opens Monday at the National Convention Center, where leaders will hold a high-level dialogue with Chinese business representatives before the formal opening ceremony at the Great Hall of the People. And Modi Jallo tells us more.
The President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, accompanied by a high-powered delegation including the First Lady, Her Excellency Fatoumata Barrow, Sunday afternoon arrived in the Chinese capital Beijing shortly after 2 p.m. local time. The Gambian leader was received by Chinese Foreign Ministry officials and the Gambia's ambassador to the People's Republic of China, His Excellency Fai Sise. President Barrow is in Beijing to attend the Forum for China-Africa Summit, which brings together African leaders and their Chinese counterpart for discussions on strengthening China-Africa partnership. The summit opens Monday at the National Convention Center, where leaders will hold a high-level dialogue with Chinese business representatives before the formal opening ceremony at the Great Hall of the People. Mamadou Jallo, GRCS News.
Let's stay in China because the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Mamadou Tangara, has reaffirmed the Gambia government's commitment towards nurturing the excellent ties between the Gambia and the People's Republic of China. Minister Tangara was speaking to GRTS in Beijing on Sunday during a one-day China-Africa Ministerial Conference. The meeting, attended by ministers from 53 African countries, is a prelude to Monday's China-Africa Heads of State and the Government's Forum. Sally Jaju tells us more.
Minister Mamadou Tangara, the FOCAC Summit will open up new development opportunities for the Gambia.
Well, one of the things that we really put emphasis on is the human resource development, because this is the most valuable resource that we have in the country is our human resource. And we know that China, they've been able to reach where they are today thanks to a very good policy on human resource development. Because without the people, without a knowledge-based economy today, there is nowhere that we can develop. So we are very much looking forward to working closely with China in developing, enhancing our human resource base.
During this forum, are you expected to sign any new bilateral relations?
Yeah, the President will be signing at least 3 with his Chinese counterpart, President Xi Jinping. And we are hopeful that the outcome will be very positive for the Gambia.
He described China as the Gambia's strategic development partner in the implementation of the National Development Plan.
Taking into consideration that today China is one of the strongest partners of the Gambia, and we are very much looking forward to a very fruitful discussion with concrete action, because we've seen the impact of cooperation with China on the continent.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs of the People's Republic of China, Wang Yi, congratulated and welcomed the Gambia to the FOCAC family. Minister Wang Yi urged all partners to work closely for the realization of FOCAC goals. During their deliberations, the ministers from different sectors will review the 2015 Johannesburg FOCAC 10 comprehensive plans and recommendations, as well as discuss new cooperation agreements. Reporting from Beijing, with Yatis News, I am Salijaju.
Next, a local organization dubbed Kapunga Youth Development Association of Fonyi Borok, in collaboration with Global Youth Innovation Network Gambia Chapter, on Saturday marked International Youth Day on the theme, Safe Spaces for Youth. Usman Mane reports.
It was observed with a tree planting exercise of over 400 malina and bamboo trees by youths and officials from the agri sector. In an interview with GRTS, Nema Choso Climate Change Adaptation Assistant Bakari Jame underscored the significance of the exercise in the restoration of the forest cover. He said Nema Choso project is committed to building climate resilience for communities in order to mitigate the effects of climate change.
NEMA is creating a lot of activities like climate resilience. One is restoration of the forest, community forest. We are empowering a lot of communities by restoring their forest. Two, we are creating a lot of woodlots in most of the communities where communities can benefit in the long run for that woodlots also. Three, we are also creating a lot of vegetable gardens. Those are all part of climate resilience. Even the dikes that are being created by NEMA, they are all part of water restoration for the communities, to harvest the water, to impound the water so that the community lands can be benefiting from it, especially the lowland rice fields.
Senior Forestry Officer and Head of Communication and Extension at the Department of Forestry, Babandi Sanyang, emphasized the need to plant more trees while deploring the state of community forest across the country.
What is more important now is the nurturing and protection of these planted trees. And over the years, we've been experiencing high rate of bushfire, especially in the dry season. And this has frustrated our effort. We've been working with them, giving them extension services, and we'll still continue with them during the dry season also. We mobilize the youths to come and protect what is planted here in the form of creating fire belts.
The Executive Director, Global Youth Innovation Network, Gambia Chapter, Mamadou Idris Anjay, dilated on the theme, saying it would promote the participation of young people in protecting the environment as well as nation building.
We want you to have spaces when it's come to environment matters. We want you to have spaces when it's come to climate change adaptations, mitigation, as well as protection of the environment. So basically it is important because we are participating in a mitigation process.
Others, including the National Assembly member of Fonyi Berefet and a member of Green of Gambia, Honorable Sunkar Baji, and Alkali Ansumana Kamara, respectively, advise young people to take lead roles in the socio-economic development of the country. Aimed at bettering the country's challenge forestry, the Secretary General Kaponyang Youth Development Association, Sajo Jaju, outlined the activities of the organization, which also seeks to engage the youth of the village to enhance community livelihoods.
The rehabilitation of the community market. We also have a school feeding program. We normally farm annually and supply the school with beans and rice. We do training of our members who today we can say the association has 2 mentors with the help of Gin Gambia.
August 12th was first designated by UN General Assembly as International Youth Day in 1999 and served as an annual celebration for young men and women, and as well an opportunity to create awareness for the problems and challenges faced by the world youth. These officials today believe that the tree planting exercise will go a long way in bringing back the forest cover with a slogan, grow a tree to save a life. For GRTS News, I am Usman Mane.
Residents of Jambanjeli in the West Coast have hailed the efforts of the Dinding Yuwa Federation in improving their children's access to education and support for local families. Louis Mendy tells us more.
Jara Manyang in Jambanjeli village in the West Coast region is a widow looking after her 4 children. 2 of them, Kajatu and Sanadabo, trek almost 5 kilometers to Kunkujan Senior Secondary School to get education. She rejoiced on Wednesday when the Dinding Yuwa Federation, a child fund affiliated initiative providing education for the less privileged in the West Coast region, donated the son a bicycle to ease access to school.
Yeah, for the bicycles, we're giving it to those children that are attending distant schools, and they are struggling with transport to go to school, and sometimes when they will go late.
The scenario is a synopsis of what the Dindi Federation is doing to bridge poverty gap in the region. Its toilet and bed projects are transforming lives in this part of the Gambia. Kitty Marena, also a widow with 11 children, recalled those days when her children used to sleep on the floor and as a result developed pneumonia. But that has stopped, said Kitim, because the Dindi Federation has provided her with a bed.
Well, the impact of regular home visit is very, very broad, and it's a lot. It has helped us to discover a lot of issues pertaining to the problems of these enrolled children who are deprived, excluded, and vulnerable, actually. We found out that there are children who are sleeping on the floor. These are families that do not even have toilet for their children, and their children will go do feces around the compound, and smaller children will play with it, and they have diarrhea and other associated diseases. So there we also found out that even if they have clean water from a clean water source, but the management of the water, where they keep this water, is always a problem, that most of the water that they have for drinking is impurified or is contaminated with some bacteria-related diseases.
On Wednesday, Musukoma, the Child Fund Country Director, visited Jambanjil, the first of its kind by the country director, to witness the distribution of dozens of bicycles and books by the Dindi Federation to the less privileged.
The bicycles are 66, the exercise book are 45,000 pieces, among 4,000 enrolled children.
Back in her office on Thursday, Mrs. Koma said her main visit to Jambanjil was to meet the Federation board members to gather first-hand information on the Federation's operational activities.
The country director here, we work with 3 local partners, and these are the local partners who implement our programs to the sponsored children. So it's my responsibility to go out every month to meet local partners, meet with the committee associations who are representatives of the parents of these children, and I also meet with the children to try to monitor how programs are being implemented, and also have discussions with them to understand some of the challenges or the concerns that they have. And at the end of the day, this is what helps us in the planning and also in the resource mobilization.
Mrs. Comer's meeting with the Dindi Federation board members was also a perfect opportunity to discuss the merger which in 2017 brought together the Commonwealth and Kaidasu federations under one umbrella.
We really had to bring together the local partners. We had 6 initially, now we brought them together based on the geographical coverage and also the number of children, and then now we have 3. Now, it has got a very, very meaningful positive impact, because you could see that we've got a lot of savings from operational cost, and these savings now are invested into program implementation where children, their families, and their communities can benefit. Before the merger, most of the resources was going on operational cost.
At Jambanjil, parents of beneficiaries of the Child Fund Benevolence brought their concerns to Mrs. Koma, expressing their desire for more help from them and from the Federation, which is already supporting the women in small ruminant production, tie and dye, gardening, and loan facilities to chase poverty and dependence.
One of the major issues we had was leveraging under the education policy, whereby school fees has been abolished. So Child Fund also followed that policy suit to not to pay school fees for children. But both the children and their parents raised this concern that besides the school fees, there are other extra side fees that they need to pay, and sometimes this is difficult for them.
In Makumbaya, Mrs. Comer's Wednesday day-long engagement took a different tone. Under this mango tree, childhood beneficiaries of the Child Fund Benevolence made their concerns heard.
Children also, we need to listen to children, and we don't have to underrate them. You know, we have different categories of children, like the Life State 1 children, they are 0 to 5 years. The proxies who speaks for them are their children and caregivers. But somebody who is 6 years to about 20 years, at least they have some concerns that they really want to say. So my closed-door meeting with them essentially was to try to understand with them what is making them happy to be part of the program, and what are some of the things that are not making them happy. And
back in her office on Thursday, Mrs. Comer said her Wednesday's engagement was a fruitful one. Louis Mendy, GRTS.
Elsewhere, women groups in Katong engaged in the oyster farming business and charcoal production are calling for support to build a market where they can sell their products. Seydou Kamara visited these women who are working tirelessly to make ends meet, and he now gives us an update.
These women of alhajij544 at Katong Beach have expressed concern over the lack of a sustainable market for their dry oysters products and mangroves harvesting. Speaking on behalf of the Alcalo of Katong, Musa Mane thanked Katong Ward Councillor Babukar Kante for his support to the Katong women, particularly those working at the beach for a decent living. Dudu Sedi, a restaurant owner at Katong Beach, highlighted the difficulties these women are going through with these big boats parking. Mr. Sedi urged the authorities to come to their aid by moving these boats to another space.
We have a seaside here whereby the ozone side, all these big boats can park there, and this river we leave it free for the small canoes and where for the oyster ladies and the tourism purpose, because this river is something to Gambia.
A native of Katong and manager of alhajij544 women group, Aissatou Madeline Jaju, explained the challenges they are faced, especially in marketing their products.
So these are the canoes we use. We have our life jackets. So during the low tide, we have our baskets where we will keep our oysters for a long time. Then during even the off-season, we will have oysters. We will have kakuls. And also a market that where, when we have that, when we reach to that capacity, then we will have a way of sending our oysters while exporting them outside.
The Katong Ward Councillor Babukar Kante also echoed the concern of the women.
I think the women and the youths are the backbone of every economy for it to progress in a country. Therefore, the women in this level, at this level here, are doing something very tremendous to ensure that they get a living out of that. Meanwhile, we said the women, after voting their political leaders into office, expect nothing but a better life for them at the grassroots level. I see it a mandate upon me to ensure that their activity, their issues at the grassroots, what they're suffering from is well heard by the government, by donors, by donor agencies, by the NGOs.
In a similar engagement, these women are also engaging in fish smoking and charcoal processing from coconut leaves. As we tour the buildings where they are processing these charcoals and fish smoking, Jenaba Baji explains how they make the charcoals and their challenges. Fatou Mane is the president of Katong Women Badala Gukafo, which consists of 33 women who are engaged in the activity. Ali Fati urged the youths of the country, especially Kombo South, to engage in this kind of ventures which will prevent deforestation and cutting down trees.
Let us all work together and make sure that this kind of work does not stop at here. Let us try to invent so many things which that it can help the country.
We are also here calling on the government and donor agencies to come to the aid of these women of Katong, both in the possession of oyster and also at the tendala, those engaging in fish smoking and charcoal processing.
These two groups of women are urging the authorities, especially the Ministry of Fisheries and Philanthropies, to assist them with a market at Katong where they can sell their products, whilst underlining the importance of mangroves, which they say can prevent soil erosions and provide other benefits in the societies. Seydou Kamara, TRTS News.
That takes us to a break. News and Sports is up next. Do stay tuned.
I don't know, I GRTS our live radio, broadcasting from Spain.
Welcome back to Sports.
Spain Banco Council Sarakono, all GRTS New Samba Kangalena live
qualifying game between the Scorpions of the Gambia and Desert Foxes of Algeria. New head coach Tom Saintfiet will make his first public appearance on the touchline when he presents his starting lineup in front of the home supporters on Saturday, 8th September 2018 at the Independence Stadium in Bakau. The Belgian tactician has invited 17 foreign-based and 3 local home-based players in his first official assignment But his team selection drew different opinions among supporters of the Gambia national squad. Now, alhajij went out and about to gather fans' views on the selected players. Let's find out what Scorpion fans have to say in this excerpt.
We have a new coach, and he has made his selection. I guess we should just support him. Not everyone can come in, so he has selected his best, so I'm supporting him 100%.
I'm nañ si yaakaar parce que lu tax ma wax loolu like seetaan naa seen training gars yi fu ñu doon train seen training ground am naa yaakaar ne gars yi mun nañ koo make ci match bi ñuy am si diggante Gambia ak Algeria waaw parce que tamit nee na la ci Scorpion players yi su nit ñi su leen jaayee bu baax dañ dee mën a dem si field bi ñu rusloo Gambien si waaye maa ngi ñaax gars yi di leen ñaan rek dañ def dara li nga xamante ne dina mën a bégloo Gambien si.
I think as the coach is a foreign coach and in that respect he's a European, I think the selection is better. It may be better than before. But unfortunately, I heard he has left out some of the players, who is Steve, you know. And I think if Steve is included in the team, there may be a stronger squad. I think so. But as he is left out, and that is his own opinion, let us see, and we hopefully better anyway. But I think if that guy is included in the squad, it may be a better squad for the Gambia.
For me, I think the coach has his own take, on the players. Since he was appointed, to be the head coach of the squad, I guess he did his homework, to invite those players, that he invited. My take is that, we give them a chance when they come and then see how best they will give for the team. Come Saturday, we will have 3 points, if the boys give their best. We'll be there to support them.
When it comes to the selection, I'm a bit worried that Steve Tarawale is left behind, and he's a young player coming up. Steve being left behind is a question that the coach needs to tell us when it comes to the game. I don't know the coach in passion per se, but I know he wants coach Togo, and I believe he knows African football, and I'm sure that with the help of the players, not him alone, but with the help of the players, if we are committed, everybody put hands on deck, I believe he can solely come out of the game, for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
We have a new coach, and he has made his selection. I guess we should just support him. Not everyone can come in, so he has selected his best, so I'm supporting him.
National News is up next. Do stay tuned. Welcome back, and let's take a look at the international stories, because Chinese President Xi Jinping has held several bilateral talks in the Chinese capital with leaders from across Africa who are there to attend the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation. CGTN's Wang Chunjuan has the details.
Countries to support the Belt and Road Initiative. While meeting with Egyptian counterpart Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, the Chinese president said China is willing to align the initiative with Egypt's Vision 2030 and Suez Canal Corridor Development Project. Sisi said Egypt, as the incoming holder of the African Union rotating presidency, will fully support China in hosting the Beijing summit of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation. This morning, Chinese President Xi Jinping met with Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir. Xi spoke highly of al-Bashir's efforts in upholding regional peace and stability, adding that China will continue to promote cooperation with Sudan in the fields of energy and agriculture. Al-Bashir said Sudan supports China's Belt and Road Initiative. He appreciates China's efforts in building a community with a shared future for mankind. The president of Namibia, H. Gangab, has been welcomed by President Xi. The two sides vowed to strengthen cooperation in infrastructure and capacity building under the Belt and Road Initiative. Gangab said the initiative will help to promote the industrialization process in Africa. He also expressed his gratitude to China for helping Namibia implement projects on wildlife conservation. The Chinese president has also met with Prime Minister of Mauritius. Prevent Jagnos. Xi mentioned his visit to Mauritius this July, saying the two sides have broad prospects for cooperation. Xi said China supports small island countries to implement the United Nations 2013 Agenda for Sustainable Development. And Jagnos responded that Xi's visit has injected strong impetus to the development of China-Mauritius relations. President Xi Jinping has held talks with the President of Equatorial Guinea. Xi said China will deepen cooperation with Equatorial Guinea in the fields of infrastructure, human resources, education, healthcare, as well as tourism. The President of Equatorial Guinea said he has visited China 10 times and his country would like to learn from China's experiences in economic development. Senegal is also one of the African countries President Xi visited this July. During his meeting with Senegalese President Macky Sall, Xi said Senegal is the first West African country to participate in the Belt and Road Initiative. He hopes the two sides will enhance cooperation in infrastructure and the construction of an industrial park. Sall said he hopes China and Senegal will always support each other and his country will steadily implement the Belt and Road Initiative.
Let's head to Somalia, where the country has signed a new memorandum of understanding with China to join the Belt and Road Initiative. The country's president is in Beijing for the FOCAC summit, where the Somali leader is seeking China's support to build his country. CGTN's Abdul Aziz Bilo tells us more.
Chinese President Xi Jinping has welcomed his Somali counterpart Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo, who is in Beijing to attend the FOCAC summit, that is the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation. The two leaders met for bilateral talks and the signing of major agreements on economic and technical cooperation, including a memorandum of understanding to join the Belt and Road Initiative.
Somalia firmly supports the Belt and Road Initiative that foster a strategic cooperative partnership for the advancement of inclusive development. And we look forward to becoming an active contributing partner to its success.
It's President Farmajo's first trip to China as head of state, where he also praised the Chinese leadership for building a community with shared future between the Asian country and the African continent. China's historic relations with Somalia was also discussed during the meeting between both nations.
A vision for building a community with shared future between China and Africa reaffirms the historic spirit of mutual respect, solidarity and common development that binds us together. It's my firm belief that this year's forum will be historic, bringing China and Africa cooperation to a new level.
Somalia is seeking to boost trade and investment ties with China. The two countries already enjoy trade relations, with Mogadishu hoping to strengthen that bond that exists between the two nations. China has supported a number of projects in Somalia in the past, including the construction of key roads and major landmarks, and continues to support humanitarian activities that saves lives as the country continues to battle with harsh climatic conditions. Beijing also continues to offer scholarship opportunities to Somali students, and most recently, a group of former university graduates from China helped establish the country's first ever Somali-China Friendship Association that seeks to encourage close cooperation in various fields between the people of both countries. And with one of the continent's longest coastlines and plenty of untapped natural resources, including oil and gas, Mogadishu now hopes that Beijing will invest more in the region, as the Horn of Africa nation seeks to boost its economy and rebuild itself after decades of conflict and instability. Abdul Aziz Bilo, CGTN, Mogadishu, Somalia.
That wraps up this edition of the news, but before we go, a recap of the top stories once again. His Excellency the President Adama Barrow is in China, attending the Forum for China-Africa Summit earmarked to strengthen South-South cooperation. Oyster producers in the coastal community of Kato are calling for support in marketing their produce. In sports, with less than a week to the Africa Cup of Nations qualifier, between the Scorpions of the Gambia and Desert Foxes of Algeria, we examined public opinion on the national squad selection. In internationals, Chinese President Xi Jinping has held bilateral talks with leaders from across Africa ahead of the FOCAC summit, which begins Monday in Beijing. That's the news at 10 with me, Fatimata Sise. On behalf of the entire team, thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of our programs.
That was end of the news from GRTS live relay over Lag Radio, broadcasting from Spain in Sal. Thank you very much for another day. Tomorrow by the same time we will be back on to broadcast you the live news from GRTS. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Elamay kang Alagi Radio la Spain Bangko kang salsa to kono. Wala mo GRTS la second edition o la endinti. Albala moy kang Alagi Radio to Spain Bangko kang salsa to kono. Wala ka relay live. So la baraka fulung kote.